Welcome back to the Real Friends podcast. As always, I'm your host, Alex, and Mike is back. What's up, Mike?
Hey, Alex, good to be back. Hey, today we're going to be talking to Jake and Thomas about their film. It's a found footage film that may or may not have bears.
This is the Real Friends podcast. Jake, you reached out to us, so can I ask, like, how'd you hear about us? And
Yeah,
what that process look like?
yeah, that's a funny question. Actually, I was wondering if y'all would ask that. So I actually have a podcast myself, where me and Thomas interview other filmmakers, and we recently interviewed the creator of Halloween Feast. Did y'all interview Gil Branco?
Oh, Gil,
Yeah,
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 yeah.
Gil
yeah.
Bronco,
So
nice.
when I was looking him up, I wanted to have some, inside information on him before I interviewed him to kind of know what he's about, kind of what he's like. And then I looked him up on YouTube and I saw y'all were right there. So I was like, perfect. So then y'all kind of helped me kind of know a little bit about him before I went in. I was like, yeah, these guys seem cool to talk to. So I figured I would talk to y'all and see what y'all want to say.
How'd your interview with Gil go? Gil is one of my favorite people I've talked to on this show.
Yeah, he's super passionate, man. He knows his stuff. He was so good. We did a double interview. So we started one part just we're talking about his film, and then we did a second part where it was just about like his career and his progress and his journey in that. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, he has a lot of cool stuff to say for sure.
Right on. Well, where can people find that? What's your
Uh
podcast?
yeah, it's called the Stay at Home Son Podcast. You can find it on Instagram at Stay at Home Son Podcast, or you could also find it on Spotify at Stay at Home Son Podcast.
Sweet. All right, yeah, definitely check that out. And if you haven't seen Halloween Feast, go watch it and listen to our interviews with Gil because he's awesome. That movie is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's one of those. It's kind of similar to you guys in the regard that it's on Fawesome, right? So you guys are on Fawesome right now. What led you to go down that route? And because that the nice part about Fawesome is it makes it available to anybody, right? It's a free streaming site. So what was the draw for you guys going that way?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, it's so hard to get like distribution for films nowadays and everything like that. So we thought we would just self-distribute this film and also found footage. I felt like trying to put it behind a paywall might be a little tough because found footage, some people love it, some people hate it. It's kind of like hit or miss. So I wanted to make sure that at least if they watched it, it would be free and accessible because I was like, I don't know if people would want to pay for it, but they might like it as a free click. So you kind of knew my market, kind of knew what my film was about. And I just thought going self-distributing on as many free platforms as possible would be good. And Fawesome was actually the first one that ever licensed it from Film Hub, which is what we used. So it was pretty
Sure.
cool to see it on the on a big streaming platform like that. So I was pretty happy about that.
I mean, it's pretty awesome. You can turn on the TV and watch your own movie, right? Like that's pretty sick.
Yeah, oh, for sure, for sure. I definitely watched it way more than I should have.
Well,
Yeah, I've watched
talking
it a
about
few
found
times with my
footage.
family too, so
Nice. That's awesome. Talking about found footage, like Mike, wanted to ask you a question about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, why did you choose found footage? Like instead of say slasher or supernatural, like anything like that. Like why was found footage the way to go?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, one of the big things I like about found footage is it's pretty cheap to make. It doesn't cost a whole lot. We were
Mhm.
still in our final semester of college when we were making it, so we wanted to make a film because we had all this access to all this free equipment from our school, from our major. And I was like, okay, what can we make with a two-man cast? Because it was me and Thomas and my dad, but really it was just me and Thomas mainly the entire film. And I was like, what can we do with the two-man cast where we don't need a DP, we don't need all these groups, we can literally just handheld camera. And I was like, found footage is perfect. So we wrote the script around the budget, and found footage was just a very accessible way of filmmaking for us to come in at.
I
All
think I
right.
would add to that too flexibility. I mean, we could go during the filming process, we could go more based off like our own schedules.
Yeah,
Yeah, most.
especially with it's just the two of you, and then I mean there was one scene with a professor. Now the professor was that who was that your dad or was that somebody else or
Yeah, that was Mr. Casey. That's my dad. Yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah.
I thought that was funny. One of the things I wanted to call out on that was that you're using your name, Jake Casey. You're using your name, Thomas Tarter, but that your dad used a different name as a professor. Why wasn't he just Professor Casey? you
Yeah,
know?
well, the one thing we did was we kind of wanted to show that it was a little bit different. So we didn't want like Casey, we didn't want to make it look like
Yeah.
we were related or anything. But
Yeah,
also,
yeah, yeah.
it's a funny story. He was actually pretending to be one of his old high school professors that he used to have that passed. So he
Okay.
was saying Wayne Garrison is one of his old professors that he used to really like. So it was kind of paying homage to one of his. I gave him the option. He was like, I want to be Wayne Garrison because it's one of his old professors. So
My
we let it.
first thought when I saw that name, I thought it was like a South Park take, like of like Mr. Gary,
Oh
Mr.
yeah, yeah,
Garrison.
yeah, yeah. I've had a couple people mention
Yeah,
that too when I was promoting the film, so it's funny you bring that up. Yeah, a
yeah.
lot of people draw that correlation.
That's wild that was your dad because like, he embodied a professor, right? Like I thought you guys just went and interviewed your actual bio professor or something like that. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, Alex, because we were actually trying to get one of our actual professors on the campus to do the interview, but he kept, for scheduling reasons, kept kind of blowing it off. And like, man, we're going to
Mm.
graduate. We need to get this done. And I was like, my dad kind of looks the part, he kind of could be a professor. So I just worked him in the script and we got it done and it worked out. And I think it was made the movie a little bit better too, having him do it because we could, more leniency, more flexibility versus having like your dad on it versus someone you don't really know trying to get him to say lines.
I thought
Sure.
it also worked out because he was able to add like a little more humor that like than like I don't know, maybe like an App State professor would. I
Mm,
don't know.
Right. I agree with that, Thomas.
Sure.
yeah.
I'm glad you bring up about the script, right? Because I think, and Mike and I talking, like that's our number one question. Like, how much was scripted and how much of this was, hey, you know, Thomas and I are going out in the woods and we're going to record each other and what happens happens, you know?
Yeah, well,
Mm.
yeah, you can answer that,
Yeah, I
Thomas.
was gonna say this was pretty much like all impromptu. Like there was like no like set script.
Yeah, only the very first part, that very first introduction where we're sitting on the log, that part was scripted because we wanted to make sure we
Okay.
had like that part sounding right. But a lot of it was just improv, loose, very loose dialogue. I'm pretty inspired by like early 2000s like mumblecore filmmaking. If y'all ever heard about that, like the Mark Duplass's, the Joe Swanbergs, all them. I was very into like that kind of directing. So with this film, it's very loose, naturalistic acting and very naturalistic, loose improv dialogue for sure.
Hmm. So that
Nice.
was definitely an intentional.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That wasn't I really I actually haven't heard of what you said mumblecore style
Yeah,
of filmmaking. So I'm gonna check that out. Mark Duplass, what was it? Some of you mentioned him. Was that like Puffy Chair? I'm
Yep,
trying to
yep,
think.
yep, yep. That was Puffy Chair. Yeah, I was
Okay.
very
Okay.
inspired by that film. A lot of his other ones too. There's this one called Baghead that he made. It's kind of like this, like
Okay.
kind of horror comedy type thing. I was pretty inspired by that as well.
You know, when Alex reached out to me, I think he reached out, what was it, Tuesday morning, to what, Monday or Tuesday, and told me about asking about this. And I started looking up like information about the movie and everything. First thought was when you said found footage film about a like horrific encounter with bears, I started thinking about Werner Herzog's Grizzly Man. I don't know if
Yeah,
you saw that, but obviously that was a documentary, but that was one of the things I kept thinking. What are they going to do with the bears? Is there going to be one bear? Is it going to be two bears? Is there going to be some guy who like wants to hug bears? So I was really going into this. I was really like excited to figure out, what being found footage and not a documentary, how are we going to tackle that? So,
yeah, we definitely tried to balance it a little bit. I think some of the criticisms we've gotten on the film is that it's like a long way to go for not a whole lot of payoff, and I would agree with those criticisms for a multiple like different reasons. But I think we kind of really just wanted to dig down on like character dynamics and kind of like showing that friendship between me and Thomas a little bit and kind of making it more of like a kind of more funny kind of like character based film with like horror
mm,
tied in. And I think like it's kind of some people have been receptive to that, other people have not been. But like with budget restraints and everything, I just thought let's try to prolong the horror as long as we can and make it a very slow burn, and then kind of just focus on the characters. So it's kind of like it's definitely not for everyone, but the people who have liked it have mentioned they like the character dynamic, and then the people who didn't are like, well, that was a long way to go for not a whole lot of resolve. And honestly, I can agree with that. Like if people who say that, I'm like, yeah, I can see that.
Well, and I think one of the most important things, like what you said in your email to me is, hey, you want to make a run at this now, right? Like you want to keep making movies and things like that. So the idea that your first film, like there's criticisms on it and you can own them, like that's a way to improve what you do, right? Like that's something you can do later. But based on what you said, I kind of have two questions for you. So I want to talk about how this came to be. right? Like, were you setting out to make a found footage horror movie, or what was your initial intention, and what did it evolve into?
Yeah, I'll answer the first part of this, and then Thomas can kind of answer what he thinks it kind of evolved into because he was very helpful with the kind of like evolution of the film. So we first went out because like we kind of lived this movie in a way because we were affected by Hurricane Helene. We were at App State when the hurricane hit, so we were very affected by it. Like we had a whole 2 weeks off of school because of it, and in those 2 weeks, I was like, this is what we're going to make the film about. And because we saw so much devastation, we saw the trees down, we saw the displacement of wildlife, so it kind of inspired us for like this kind of interesting kind of movie that was almost like it felt real to us because that was like our life at that time, with all the, I mean, there's parts of the movie where you see the trees down, you see the stuff, the decay and the stuff messed up. And it was kind of cool because it was like this way we could make this film and like kind of live the film. So that's kind of where it started is let's make a found footage movie that feels real and feels relatable to where we're at right now.
And I think just to add to that, where I came was basically like so Jake and I were shooting the very first scene. It's on the Greenway Trail in Boone, North Carolina. And this is like a really popular like touristy kind of area. So we found like a back area of the trail where like nobody really goes. So we're like, okay, we can film here. And then it was like spontaneous decisions, like the log that we're sitting on, there was like one log that was down, so I'm like, okay, why don't we just film something here? And he's like, sure, bet.
Yeah, it was very loose, even with the scene structure. Like we kind of had an idea of a location we wanted, but a lot of times we would improv on like where we would go. It was just a lot of fun making the film, that kind of like loose improv base of it. I mean, it was just us running around with the camera having a lot of fun. So like when I watched the movie back, I remember like I have good memories with that. So that's kind of fun making a movie and looking back at it and being like, wow, that was a fun time in my life.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys talk about like living this, making it together, like making art with your friend can be really rewarding and it can also be challenging, right? So like can you talk about that? Like talk about the process of you two working together. And my other question with this is, you said about the improv and things like that and the low budget. Like how long did this project take?
Well,
Yeah. Oh, you can
before
go. You can go, Thomas.
yeah, I was gonna say before Jake answers that, I just want to say I don't to the second part of your question, I personally don't feel that we had um any. I mean, we had some hiccups here and there filming. We really have any like major problems per se, just because like we had like the common goal, so we worked like really hard and we're dead set on reaching that common goal.
Yeah, I
Sure.
agree. I agree with that. I think us having a common goal in mind really made it good. I mean, me and Thomas were like best friends in college. We were like always together, had classes and stuff. So like we had a very good natural build. And I would tell that to a lot of filmmakers who are trying to make their first project and they're trying to like, go in at a lower budget. It is so much more important to work with people that you like and that like you than it is to have like a star-studded cast because you probably can't even afford that star-studded cast just starting out. So it's better to have people who will take the extra take for you, will get up early with you and work with you. And I think that I would rather have it that way than with like a whole star-studded cast because it just makes it way more fun to make films. And also you can take more liberties too because they value you and you value them.
Sure. No, yeah, absolutely. That's good to hear. It's one of those deals, right? Like you can have your best friend in the world and then when you room with them, it doesn't work. So I didn't know if there's any kind of stuff like that, but that's awesome that, it went really well. Just the second part of that, how long did this project take you guys?
That's a good question. It took a little bit just because we had so much issues. So when we came back from the hurricane, we had horrible weather. It was like rainy and it was like there was times of days it was snowy and I was very adamant on not filming in the snow. I just thought the optics of it just kind of looked weird because I was trying to make it look like early spring
Mhm.
into and I mean early like late winter into early spring. So I was like, if it looks heavy snow, that looks too like it just didn't look right for me. So I was very adamant on not filming the snow. So we were knocking it out. We probably got about half of it done in about a month, so about January. But then what happened was I broke my foot halfway through the production,
Oh
and that was when we
no.
graduated. Yeah, so I literally had to graduate with a broken foot. Walked up the stage to grab my diploma with a boot on, and we had to put filming on halt for about 2 months, from about April to May, we didn't touch the film, but we actually came back in June because Thomas still had a lease on his apartment after he graduated, and we finished up in June. So it probably took about 2 months in total. And that's probably about how much it would have took anyway. But we wanted to start in like February and end in March, but we ended up starting in like February and ending in June. But really, we were filming for about 2 months of that time. A lot of that was because my foot was broken.
You didn't pull like a Lord of the Rings thing where you broke it filming, did you? Or
No, I always wish I did though, because I felt like that would make the story of the film a little bit better. I was always a little
yeah.
like in a weird way. I broke my foot. I was like, man, if I was gonna break my foot, it was supposed to be on this film. But no, I broke it playing. I broke it playing basketball in college because I played
Oh
basketball a
no.
lot. But I wish it was during the film because that would be a cool story for promotion and stuff.
Well, we can edit this part out and you can,
Yeah.
make up a story how you broke your foot running from the bear or
Yeah,
something,
yeah. Y'all didn't hear anything. I broke the bear attacked me. I broke my foot. It was like 2 inches away from dying. So yeah, 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 yeah. That's what really happened, y'all. I don't know what I was saying at the start.
Yeah, before that happened, honestly, I was debating about whether I was going to stay up there for the summer. And then when I heard he broke his foot, I'm like, well, I'm stuck here.
Yeah. Yeah, we it was he had like a small little apartment. I mean, it was like moldy on one top, and I'm like living on the floor and like I'm editing it and getting the takes together, and we all have it on one hard drive. I mean, it was rough, but like I said, me and Thomas were such good friends. It never felt we never stepped on each other's toes. We never like we were just very locked in. And like if you're gonna make a film for the first time, I really recommend working on it with people like you're really close with because it's a lot of work, it's a lot of time, and you need to like who you're around.
Sure. So that kind of answers one of my questions, but I'm gonna ask it anyhow. Like, my impression was that this was maybe part of school for you guys, like that this was like a final semester project or anything like that. Was this exclusively just you guys were making a film because you wanted to? It wasn't for a project or anything like that?
Wow, it's awesome that you think that though, because that means that you really thought the project aspect was real. Yeah, no, this was a film we wanted to make, but it's cool that you thought it was that because we were trying to pretend it was for that. So awesome. But yeah, it was just an idea we wanted to make a film because, like I said, we had all this access to all this free equipment, and I always wanted to get into filmmaking. And I was like, I mean, I saved a lot of money making this because we didn't have to rent out the equipment. We could just get it for free for school. So I was like, if I leave college without a film made with all this free equipment, I'm going to be kicking myself because I'll never have this opportunity again. So I was very adamant on making something when I left college for sure. So yeah, we planned on making the film.
Nice.
When you graduated though, how did you still have access to all that equipment?
That's where the big budget came in. I had to go on Lens Rental and rent out the equipment we had for that
Okay.
week. But for most of the shoots before that, like the whole month was all free. The whole first month was free. And then I had to rent out for the next. So I basically cut the budget in half because of the free equipment. But I'm trying to buy that equipment now too with the money I'm making back. So it's pretty good. So I always just want to own my own equipment eventually because renting equipment, it sucks.
We were actually lucky enough that when we started filming the movie, I guess God was on our side because like before that semester, like we had these like really old JVC cameras with like old sensors and it looked like grainy and everything. So that
Yeah.
was our hassle to
Yeah, and then
get.
and then and then the semester that we finally started filming, they up the quality of the cameras, so we had access to even nicer cameras. So it was like that. I'll take it.
At that point, you can't not, right?
Right,
You got to make
exactly.
the movie then.
Yeah, exactly. We are like, there's too many signs for us to make this film.
Yeah. Do either of you have prior like any film or like acting experience, anything like that?
No, we don't have any. I mean, we would make little short films in college here and there, just kind of like experimenting. And those were actually for class because we majored in electronic media broadcast. So it's actually more like news based. So it's getting you ready for be like a reporter on air. I work at WRL News right now, actually, as my day job. And yeah, so we were kind of learning how to like interview and how to set up cameras for like, one-on-one interview type stuff. So we were kind of like going to school to learn about the news, but it felt more like film school to us at the same time. So it was a weird little balance.
Yeah,
Sure.
my only
Yeah.
experience, same thing, just like creating these little shorts and stuff. I kind of started to get into it. I took a class called documentary filmmaking. Like we didn't make full documentaries, 'cause, full documentaries take a while, like a lot longer than a semester. So we made like these little short, like 3 minute ones. I'm like, oh, okay, this is fun.
Yeah. Yeah, to go from that to, a 90-minute plus movie is it's bold, right? Like that's a ton of work. I mean, I haven't done a ton of like filming and stuff, but I would do like radio documentaries and just the audio for that amount of time is insane to edit. So good on you guys.
Yeah, it took a whole summer. I was sitting here after we got back in June. I spent all July and pretty much all of August just editing it, and then it went live in October. So it was definitely a lot of work. But like I said, I just felt like if I was gonna take the time and really try to make a film, I just didn't want to do a short. Like I didn't want to put a bunch of money into making a really nice short. I was like, let me just make a whole length feature and just see what happens. Because I don't know, something about putting money into a really short thing just I didn't like that. I was like, if I want to make a short, I want to make it like as cheap as possible. And if I'm going to put more than $1,000 in something, I want it to be like a full length feature. I was just for some reason I was very adamant on doing that, and I'm happy I did that because I just didn't see any other way.
True. Do you think that's the direction you'll go now, though? Like, are you gonna continue like when you make things, make them like feature lengths, or what's the, it's always rude to ask a first filmmaker what's next, so I don't want to do that. But I do want to talk about just kind of your ideas for your process going forward.
Yeah, well, I think Thomas is trying to get into like acting. He wants to be like maybe in a background, maybe as an extra, just because Thomas is more of a better he's a better actor than I am. I feel like I'm more on the director kind of filmmaking side. I just act out of necessity because I'm trying to keep budget low instead of having to hire another actor. So I have to write characters that are in my range. But I feel like Thomas is a more naturally gifted actor than I am. So he's definitely trying to get more acting stuff. And for me, I'm just trying to get money back, saving from the film. The first bit of money did come in from this, and it's looking pretty good. So I think I'll be able to hopefully recoup. Like I said, having a low budget film, it's pretty cool because you don't have to make a whole lot to cover it back. So
Sure.
trying to get that money back and put invested in another feature because I think I just like making features. That's my thing. I like making long length features. I feel like it's like you spend all this time and it's like almost like you're documenting a part of your life that you won't be in anymore. So I like doing that with features. I feel like here's a little snapshot of my life for this time, and you put it out there in the world, and some people hate it, some people love it, but you know what, you feel like accomplished because you did it, so that's always good.
Do you think you'd go venture back into found footage again, or are you thinking about branching out and doing something more, uh, like I guess linear? Yeah,
Yeah, we thought about doing like more linear storytelling for sure. I think on the next film, I'm going to make it more of a comedy film. I was thinking about doing another found footage. I haven't even told Thomas this yet, but I'm thinking more of this one because I'm probably going to spend like a year writing the script. My next film is going to be more heavily scripted because I know more about the filmmaking process now. So I think I can handle like a more scripted type film, and it's going to be more of a comedy film, more like a slice of life comedy. And then I would like to venture back into found footage, knowing what I know now. And honestly, a lot of it came from the reviews. I mean, I love getting reviews. I love people telling me what they thought was good, what they thought was bad, because that's how you grow. That's how you get better. Because I don't think I'm like the greatest ever. I'm just trying to get better each time. So that's what I try to do.
definitely think the reviews. I did check out some for watching it, and it actually helped me get into the mindset of what to expect. Because I guess I'd rather know in advance, like in a certain thing, because I knew we'd be doing this podcast and everything. I wanted to know, well, what am I in for? And there was a review that had said about that it was hard. It takes a while to get going. Like
Yeah.
obviously, because really, you're looking at 120, like an hour and 29 minutes of dialogue.
Yeah. And
You know,
setup, dialogue and setup. Yep.
yeah, dialogue and setup. So for me, then that changed like what I was thinking in my head and getting prepared for. So I knew what I was into. So then I knew that from the beginning. Then I was vested. Like I was going to watch everything because I will complete any movie. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
But it had a lot of that the back and forth dialogue. A lot of ribbing on each other. You guys did a lot of ribbing on each other. I thought that was pretty good, and I assume
Yeah,
well, it's
take
natural.
it easy on us Yanks, man. Come on, we're not all from New York City. I hunt and
Yeah.
fish too.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Thomas is the another Yank, so I'm like the lone Southerner of the group. So I always just kind of have
Oh
to
yeah, we
defend
have like
myself a
a
little bit.
whole nother friend group that I don't know, are we gonna introduce them in the next couple films maybe?
Yeah, we're gonna have a bigger cast on the next one for sure.
Yeah, because we live in central Pennsylvania, but near state like Penn State, so it's
Yeah.
basically Kentucky here. So
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, y'all like hunting, fishing, and stuff like that. So that's cool. That's
yeah,
cool. Y'all come hang out with us then.
Oh yeah. We have a local newspaper posts everyone's bucks. that they print it
That
all out and
that's how
everyone's
you know.
smiling
That's how
and
you know you're in the country when the local newspaper front page is
yep,
putting the dang books they're getting for the
yep,
season. Hell yeah.
exactly, exactly. That's what happens here.
Hell yeah.
I want to kind of one of my last questions here, and we can expand on as much as you want, but there's something to me, there's something really beautiful about the campfire scene at the end, right? Like, you have this found footage movie, you've been setting up there's a bear and these different things, and then you guys get to the end of your project, you go out to this campfire, and it almost like, not to make it weird, but it felt like a love letter to each other that college is over, right? Like, is that what you guys were intending, or is that just what it evolved into? Like, what was that campfire scene to you guys?
Yeah, well, I'm happy you saw it that way because that's exactly what I was trying to go as for it because it was more of a personal letter to us for sure. Because when you're out of college, it's stressful. I mean, you got jobs you got to apply for. Some people have student loans they got to pay off and all this stuff. But the main thing is that you've lived this life for 4 years. I mean, 4 years you've spent all this time. It's probably the first time in your life you've been away from home. You've been on your own. You really became your own person, and now it's over, and you got to redo it again and start over. And I think that was a very personal message to us, just trying to tell each other, you know what, it's going to be okay. And you're not supposed to know where you need to be right now, but the beauty is in finding that in the process. And I'll let you kind of elaborate on that a little bit, Thomas, too, because that you did an amazing job acting on that scene. So I want you to take all the credit for it.
Well, I mean, I think personally that was like one of my favorite scenes to film. I mean, it felt like the realest scene to me. Honestly, a lot of it was a blur. I don't even remember. I'd have to go back. I don't even remember half of what I said, honestly, just because like I was going based off like, pure instinct and what I thought in that moment. But I think I had a general idea of like what to say just because like Jake comes up to me if like I guess like the week before and says, okay, we're trying to figure out where we didn't know if we were going to use that campground or not. Jake found that. I found a couple other campgrounds that were more like farther out. So Jake is like, okay, this one's closer and it's still in the North Carolina high country area. So I said, oh, so he said, okay, this is going to be like more of like a reflect on, I guess a reflect on life kind of scene is the way he described it to me. So I'm like, okay. So the way I went into it is I didn't really do any like preparation or anything. I just kind of like said what I felt in the moment and it worked out.
Was that scene filmed before or after graduating?
That scene was filmed after graduating, right after
Okay.
we most of the movie, like pretty much everything from the when we put the first trail cams out, like everything after the professor was filmed after I broke my foot and we came
Okay.
back. Yep, yep.
So did you film it chronologically then? Like, did you start filming like, at the beginning of it and working to the end, or how did that work?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was very adamant. Now I will say the death scene we kind of filmed a little bit ahead just because that was a harder scene to film than I think it looked. I mean, I like how it came out because it was really quick and I think it looked kind of real. But like I said, when it's a guy in a suit in a bear suit I bought pretty much, right? So you can't really make it look if you have them on camera too long, you kind of give it away. So you have to make it really quick and like brief. So what we did was we threw the focus, put the camera on the ground. I ran out kind of hunched out in the suit. And thankfully I'm kind of taller and I guess I had like a padded thing so I could kind of pull it off for a little bit. But that's the only thing we filmed ahead of time just because that was a bigger scene, I think. But most of it we filmed chronological because I really wanted to live the movie because it's such naturalistic dialogue kind of based film. So I want us to really feel like, okay, we're doing this today. This is where we're at today. I didn't want it to feel like, okay, well, this is what we're doing today. We're going to go back here tomorrow again. It's like, no, this is our day to day and we're filming our day to day. So I was very adamant on doing chronological for sure.
I think you
Sure.
had to because of Thomas's beard.
Yeah, yeah, very
You,
true.
you had to be chronological because they could be like, oh no, we're going back. You gotta grow it or you gotta shave it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
funny.
was told to grow one out. I think like the month or 2 months before or something. So I'm like, okay. It got towards the end. It got a little uncomfortable. It was very long.
Yeah, he made the ultimate sacrifice because, like y'all know, if he didn't have the beard, the movie would have just been absolutely horrendous. I mean, there was been no saving it without the beard. I mean, that's like the only part people. I mean, all the reviews like the movie was horrible, but that beard, man, that's the only reason.
That's a beautiful beard.
Amen to that,
Dude.
man.
I feel like Jake, if you could have grown a beard, it would have really increased the wedge between, the Yank and the Southerner.
Right, right. That's why we're making on the second film. I'm gonna have a beard. It's just like a chronological. We're just every film we keep one of us will have a different beard. The beard's its own character. I got to give the beard an IMDb page.
There you go.
I one of the things I did notice there, like right before the end was the little like diner scene where you can notice that Thomas wants to go back at the trail cams. Jake, you're kind of like visibly shaking. You don't want to go back there. You know what happened the night before. And I was wondering, like, because, well, you didn't really have extras. So did you just like film that like kind of like guerrilla style right there in the diner because of the people behind you? I don't think that they were part of the film, right? They were just sitting there, right?
Yeah, it was very guerrilla filmmaking style. We have pretty good connections in that area. We used to go to Mountain City all the time. People like us up there and people like us in Boone. So we were able to kind of get in and people were cool with us being there and filming and stuff. And like I said, it was just a lot of guerrilla stuff, first time making, you're just kind of going in trying to get stuff
Yeah.
and running out with it. So yeah, that's an interesting point for sure. But yeah, that's a little diner in actually a Mountain City, Tennessee, which is a little town not too far from Boone at all. We used to hang out there, go fishing up there a lot.
Yeah. You know, just real quick here, since I'm right at the end there. So I wanted to just say he should have got a bigger knife at the end. Should have came out with a bigger knife because that scene really stuck out to me. I was like, what that? He's got the same little knife that he cut
Oh
like the peanut
yeah.
butter with. All right, he's coming out. He's like, I'm going. You gotta go. You gotta be prepared. And he's like, this little baby knife. What's
Yeah,
that?
it's funny. It's funny because there's some parts of the movie. It's so funny you mentioned that because I was trying to hope people would find that part a little funny. There's like little comedic. There's like little comedic things I put in the movie. Like somewhere in the middle, the film evolved into more of a comedy film than I think it was supposed to because the film kind of became its own thing. But there's little things like I thought my dad was funny. He was dying laughing. Did y'all see the scene where we have like the poster board that we're making? The
You know
phone, yeah,
what?
yeah.
We
My
talked
dad's like,
about
That
that.
my dad's like, what
dude.
the hell is this? He's like, y'all are in college and this is your fucking project. So I
Oh
was,
man, your dad's a smart guy. I thought that was yeah. We thought the
yeah,
same thing. We were like, no way. What are they graduating from second grade college?
right,
Like that's
right, right. So there's like, it's funny though. So there's like little parts of the movie where it's like we're kind of not taking ourselves too serious, and I think I love when people laugh at stuff like that because I'm like, man, I would rather have them laugh than yawn. That's one thing, so I'll take it.
yeah. No,
So
that's good. I'm glad you didn't take that too seriously.
No, no,
yeah,
no,
but
no one. There's not a single person on this film set that took anything too serious, man. We were just having fun, enjoying it. So yeah, no, I thought that was hilarious when my dad roasted me for that. He's like, "This is the big project." I was
let's expand on that poster scene, right? Because you said none of this was scripted, really. So like you would know when you guys are practicing your presentation, how many of those times were you guys actually just fucking up, and how many times was that like, all right, let's make this funny, you
Yeah,
know?
so we were trying to make it kind of funny when we were messing up. So we were like, let's deliberately mess up. There was definitely some times messed up. The funny thing was the actual one, the final mess up where I said doe instead of a bear. That was real. That was legit real. That was not improv. I was crashing out. Your boy was going crazy. So
That was
yeah,
that scene. I totally forgot about that scene. Honestly, that scene was filmed in the college in a study room in the App State Library,
yep.
and yeah, we were crashing out so many times with the study boards, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. Like we were trying to figure it out.
Yeah, we just kind of try to make it funny because at that point I was always like, yeah, they're gonna laugh at this poster. So I kind of wanted to give the poster a little more
Yeah.
screen time just because I thought it was so freaking funny. So I was like, let's make a
Oh
whole
my.
scene. I mean, it was just so much of this was improv and directed on the fly. It was a really fun movie to be a part of. I mean, I had so much fun making it.
And like
Right
we
on.
we were talking about how many times like whenever you look at the trail cam footage, which it takes up about 30 minutes in the center of the movie. It's like, oh, we got six pictures and oh, no bear, no bear, no bear.
Yep,
There's a
yep.
bear. And then you evaluate one picture. Is there a bear? Is that a bear? And we were just saying, man, that would be a drinking game because how many times you say bear, you know?
Yeah, there would definitely be some alcoholic rising if that was a drinking game for sure. Yeah. No, I will say that though, if I could change one thing about the film, because I'm pretty happy with how it came out and like the response I've been getting is pretty good for what I like. I would say though, I would go back and kind of cut those like reaction scenes of the camera because I feel like we were trying to just in a weird way. I was like, oh, let's just kill time and kind of prolong it. And I think
Mm.
we were thought we maybe were going about it, but looking back, there was a couple of scenes where even I'm like, let me skip through this shit. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
and I don't even know about like skipping through it. One thing that I think would help when we've talked about it is like those scenes being a little more scripted. Because in generic conversation with your friends, like you repeat yourself a lot, right? But in narrative storytelling, that can be a little like it can kind of take you out of the movie,
Oh
right?
yeah, I
So
totally agree.
yeah, but what's cool about that and why I think this movie works is that because those things were happening, I genuinely thought you guys were doing a project, you were filming your project for most of this, and then when you found some bones, you're like, "Hey man, we can make this a horror movie. So let's do that." So it felt more organic that way. So the idea that that was the initial intention, I think it worked despite that not being the plan for it to work that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. There was a one review we got recently where he was like, it's actually a very realistic depiction of found footage, but he says the problem with that is that sometimes that hurts it narratively. And I'm like, I agree with
Right.
that. I think that's a fair take.
Mhm.
I mean, I haven't had a single review that I didn't like agree with. I mean, I was so open-minded with it and trying to be as honest as possible because I feel like as a creative, it's like all you are is your vision and all you are is being honest with your vision, and just because you have a vision doesn't mean it's this perfect vision. It's like you're gonna find your secret sauce. Like, okay, maybe you're good at that, maybe you're not good at that, maybe, and then you just keep building off it for the next film. Like, this is what's good, this is what's not good, and then you just keep working on it.
Yeah. And the more you go too, right? You can figure out your niche specifically. Like this is your first movie. It's found footage. It's not scripted. Like, are you better at directing or do you write a script and it knocks your socks off and you're like, "Okay, I can write scripts and have a friend direct it or something like that." Like you can really find what works for you in that groove. But I think this is a heck of a swing and I think it's a hit for your first movie, man.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate that, and like I said, it's doing way better than I thought it was. The response has been good. I think people like parts of it, and then there's parts they don't like. And I'm just thinking if there's like, I mean, for a first time director, I was like, man, if I could get one part people like, I'll take that,
Yeah,
because it's
yeah.
it's a
Sure.
miracle if you get people to react to something. So I definitely enjoyed making it. Think it was a good learning process for me and me and Thomas both, and I'm excited to see where we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got to say one of my favorite parts is actually a bit of the dialogue, obviously, is the DoorDash speech. I love that. I was like, wow, someone else gets it. Someone else knows.
Yeah,
It's a scam.
Because I guess I was like legitimately I think I had to come up with something to say because I hadn't spoken in the movie in a while or something. And I'm like, he was talking about going to the pizza place. And I'm like, well, why don't we just DoorDash it?
Yeah, and I had the dish DoorDash. Now the only problem with that is I just killed any potential sponsorship I will have with DoorDash as my career progresses. So
Yeah.
you'll be all right. You'll be
yeah,
all
I think
Yeah.
right.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know if
But
DoorDash will recover. No, I'm just joking. They'll be fine
I
without me.
I did feel like, even though you didn't know me, you were kind of targeting me with this movie because I'm a Yank and I drive for DoorDash. So I was like, man, Jake hates my guts, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
Alex, man, this was just a hit
That's
piece
why,
to
yeah,
you,
Alex.
man. This is just
Yeah.
this is all for you, bro.
That's why you can't say anything bad, Alex.
Yeah. But no, I think there's little parts like that. Like we mentioned like Chat GPT in parts of the movie. I mean, it's very like I just feel like some movies are trying not to be so in the time they're in. Like they're almost like trying to be very neutral like stuff and like not act like it's real life. And like I wanted this film to feel real. So I was like, let's mention stuff that people do daily, like DoorDash and name drop like Chat GPT and stuff like that. I don't know. I thought it kind of made it a little different.
it makes it feel
Yeah.
lived in, right? Especially the spaces you guys use. You're using your actual apartments, you're using trails you go on, you're using your study rooms at, the college. Like it felt very lived in and real. It felt like a YouTube video for how to make bear traps or like bear bait at the beginning,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and but
that's
it's
perfect.
it's a movie, so
Yep.
Yeah, so are you gonna bring it up, Alex? Like, you guys know those aren't nails, right?
Yeah, we know that. We're very aware. We're
I was
aware
like, man,
now.
you're hammering a bolt into
I
that
was like,
tree.
I don't know. How's that gonna work? And I saw like
Yeah,
the
honestly, personally,
cutaway.
I didn't know that because that was my part. I think I went to Lowe's and I got
Yeah,
or
we went to
yeah.
Lowe's and I'm like, Thomas, go pick up some nails. He brings this, and I was like, oh, okay. I guess we're
Yeah, you
rolling with
gotta
this. I was like,
Man,
gotta
made
work
the
with it.
tree. Yep,
you
Yeah.
that
should
worked.
have you should have hammered home the Yank thing about that, man.
I
Oh,
Like
know, right? There's just so many
Thomas, these
men.
are nails.
Yeah, I was like, hey Thomas, go pick me up some nails. Comes back with, I was like, oh, okay, okay. We'll make do. We'll make do. I mean, like I said, we're broke college kids. So it's like we already spent the money on those bolts. That money ain't
yeah,
coming
Yeah,
back.
I think
Lowe's
at
might
that
have taken them back.
I think at that point you kind of know, yeah, this might be a comedy. you
Right,
know,
right.
the whole riffing and everything. And oh, that's sweet peanut butter. Oh, that smells good.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
said, it's funny too because I don't know if y'all saw the trailer, but I laugh every time I see the trailer because I made the trailer like it looks so serious, like it's some big time found, and the movie's just like funny as hell half the way through. It's just not like the
Yeah.
trailer.
I didn't realize there was a trailer. Is it on
Yeah,
YouTube?
yeah. It's on YouTube. I'll send you all the link for the trailer. I'll send you all the stills for this interview too, and I'll also send you all the link to trailer. But I think y'all will laugh if y'all see what the trailer is like versus what the actual movie's like. It
Yeah.
totally. I had people diss me on Reddit for the trailer. Like I thought I was gonna be intense, and this is y'all messing around with the. I was like, yep.
But you know what? The trailer grabbed him, so
Yeah,
you know it
Yeah.
did its job.
Amen. A view's a view, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, any publicity is good publicity. So
That's
Amen.
true.
Amen to that.
Can't wait to see what comes up next for you guys.
Thank you. I
yeah,
really appreciate that.
yeah, and we'd love to keep promoting anything you make, man. So when you've got the next movie coming down, let us know, and we'll be super pumped up to talk about it with you.
Will do, man. Will do. I really appreciate y'all having us on today. It was a lot of fun.
All right, awesome. Yeah, well, once again, this has been Jake and Thomas. Check it out on Fawesome. And yeah, we're excited to see where you guys go next. And I
Yeah.
have to get down to App State. I'm a huge baseball guy, and your baseball field in the fall looks like one of the coolest places in the world. So I gotta come check it out.
Oh yeah. It's a beautiful campus. It's a beautiful area. I'd totally recommend it. 10 out of 10. And yeah, I would definitely want to go there if I were you for sure. It's awesome.
Sweet. All right. Well, yeah, like we said, thanks for coming on, guys. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Y'all have a great day.
You
Thanks.
too. All right.
Thank
Hey,
you
this
too.
has been the Real Friends Podcast, and we'll see you next time. This is the Real Friends Podcast.